The isolated university town of Black Scratch had just enjoyed its most peaceful week in a long time. Having a giant crab working the doors really keeps the riffraff out, you know? Unfortunately for Nuke, he was being forced to speak to some of the riffraff inside. "This is Jazz. Jazz, this is the prince," Izumi said. Beside her, on the roof of the bar, stood an equally scraggly-looking woman to whom Nuke vaguely gestured in greeting. "Pleasure to meet you, Nukey boy," Jazz said. Her voice had a most unfamiliar twang. "You can barely talk. Is this what the old town brown does to you?" Nuke said. "Yeah, now I'm from the Naish. Had me in bloody chains half my life. Picked up a teensy bit of their accent." "Holy Nation, you mean?" "Too right." "Oh, no wonder they're all so mad all the time over there. So, future girl, you said this was about your ancient addiction scheme." "It is. Jazz does the geo stuff, and she's got all the surveys for the local area. We've been looking it over, and there's a perfect place to grow chocolate here," Izumi said. "Pretty much, yeah. So there's like this old river that's about 2 chugs short of being totally out of there, but what's left makes the fertility index of the ground shoot up like you're fucking dead. No offense. So yeah, it's got all the right nutrients for those old beans. Should be able to whip out a proper crop of choc in no time and get your whole empire coco loco, or whatever it was you wanted. Want me to sort it out for you?" Jazz said. "The Holy Nation must be destroyed," Nuke muttered to himself. "Well, always wanted to try home growing. Sounds like future girl already told you all our secrets, so I guess you're hired." "Too right she told me your secrets. You two got a shake's chance in heaven if you carry on like all that." "What the fuck are you talking about?" "Nothing, Nuke. Prince, come on, let's go see the growing site. Aren't you excited?" Izumi said, waving for Nuke to follow her down into the bar. "Probably. Can't say I know what's going on, but we need a walk anyway. Let's round up the crabs and roll out," Nuke said. So it was done, and the guild assembled in the town square. Jazz joined them with a group of her fellow warrior scholars from the Tech Hunters. Gary was loaded up with tools, bricks and sheet metal, and the group plodded off down the hill. Even at a crab's pace, it was only a half hour or so to the ancient river canyon north of the town. It snaked back west into the United Cities Empire, and east into the lawless farmlands of the Stormlands coast. In other words, it was perfect for drug running. In fact, it was so perfect that when the guild arrived, 2 rival gangs were mauling each other over the prime turf. "Bloody hell, they've clocked it already, I reckon," Jazz said. "Worry not, milady. In the name of the Empire, I will conquer the Promised Land and show the world how a real drug dealer rolls." "Release the crab!" Nuke shouted. Prince and the guild's fellow soldiers moved up to clean the field of pirates and reavers. "He's always like this then?" Jazz asked Izumi. "Well, ever since he bought that fucking crab," Izumi replied. "You've had a foul mouth on you ever since you went up his way, don't you think? He's been rubbing off on you." "Don't put it like that." "Really? Thought you might enjoy it, you know? Huh? The only thing he's... I'm not saying it like that. He taught me sword fighting, so shall we?" "Oh, be my guest, darling. I'll show these dregs how we got out of the camps," Jazz said, entering the raging battle with Izumi. With the 2 gangs being half dead already on account of each other, the TCM Plus Guild and their Tech Hunter collaborators cleaned house and carried on down the shallow hill to the bottom of the river canyon. The canyon had steep cliffs running in both directions, and their current entry point was the only way in or along it. There, at the crossroads of the underworld, there was a swampy cove in the canyon side. "This is the spot," Jazz said after tasting the mushy soil. "So, you sure you want to do this?" Prince?" Izumi said. "What exactly are we doing, by the way?" Wadston asked. "Isn't it obvious?" Nuke said. "We're going to use this wet mud to grow a drug so ancient that Dad hasn't made it illegal, and so addictive that people used to smuggle it in containers that were also made of it." He was referring to what he'd read about Easter eggs in Izumi's magazine, not that anyone else knew that. "We are going to go with the flow of history and turn green into brown. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to farm some drugs." Els clapped, everyone else looked at each other in confusion, and the great project began. Step 1 was to lay claim to the patch by blocking off the drug running routes. This took most of the day, with the crew shoveling earth to pile up inside a metal framework, making a set of sturdy walls that formed a compound around the drug spring. The tech hunters put up a hydraulic gateway to get in and out, and just like that, the TCM Plus guild was a guild no more, but a tiny empire. And what would an empire be without soldiers? Nuke returned to Black Scratch and hired a group of mercenaries to patrol his borders. He also bought large quantities of mortar and sandstone and had them brought down to the river to build his new house. Good thing he brought a cadre of troops with him, as back down at the base the local reavers had become very confused regarding the walling off of their usual beat. "They've stolen our wacky backy patch!" one of them screamed, prompting an attack. However, ultimately the guild and its shiny new army were too much for them. They scurried away to tell their mates high and low about this unsettling new settlement on the scene. About a day after the guild had arrived, they had a dusty new HQ set up astride the drugs cove, and the drug smuggling routes were under their control. Only thing they didn't have was the drugs, which was brought up at a guild meeting the following evening. "Productivity remains low," Nuke reported, pointing at his hand-drawn chart, which was in fact just a blank piece of paper. "As you can see, we've got 0 kilograms of product ready to ship, and we can expect another 0 kilograms from the current crop. So, yeah, did no one think of this? No one's got any chocolate seeds. Future girl?" "I have them in the HQ. Well, the old HQ. The old HQ, actually. In the shed," Izumi said. "You and your bloody shed. That's a bit of a trek. Where else can we get them?"
"Prince Tashino, I've been near and far and never even heard of this chocolate," Isaiah said. "I think Our Lady's archaeological finds might be our best bet."
But that's so far away. Maybe we can think of a new drug using what we have. Charlie, go and fertilize the swamp in your special way and see what happens. Wadston, my man, I want you to find out if we can milk the crabs." After some debate, neither of these ideas went forward. Not that we know of anyway, and instead they decided to go recall their own products from Heft. "Shex, Wadston, Coinslot, you're with me and Gary," Nuke ordered. "Rest of you keep the crabs safe, and I guess the Manksand as well. Future girl's in charge." "Wait, Prince, I'll go with you. This was my idea after all. Let Mr. Wadston rest here," Izumi said.
"I don't need to rest," Wadston insisted.
"Guess I'll stay here then."
"Although, my back, perhaps I'll wait."
"Future girl is in charge because I need someone I can trust back here," Nuke stated.
"Just kiss already,"
Rick heckled. "Oh yeah? Give her a snog goodbye," Jazz added. Izumi stormed out, and ultimately there was not so much as a wave goodbye when Nuke's team set off for the lengthy round trip back to the capital. "Try not to die," Nuke called as he went. This proved to be a difficult order to follow. There was more trouble with the Reavers stumbling into the base, but nothing Nuke's hired legions couldn't handle. However, then a more serious opponent came wandering down the river. It was a huge group of United City slavers off foraging for stock beyond the border. "What the fuck is this place?" their leader asked when they turned a corner and saw walls blocking their path. "Dunno, it's not that farm, is it?" a follower said.
"We already visited the farm, idiot,"
another said, a stalk of wheat sticking out of his mouth. "Alright, calm down. So, where's that map?" the leader asked. He studied it for some time, to no avail. Then he looked up and realized he was surrounded by Nuke's troops and the guild caretakers, weapons in hand. "You picked a bad time to get lost, friend," Jazz shouted.
"I'm not lost, I'm right where I want to be. Get the feisty one.
In fact, get all the buggers. Let's have this place," the slaver boss called to his entourage, and with that, a huge brawl broke out. "I think you could have been more subtle, Jazz," Izumi said. "To slavers, no point. If you got out of the niche like I did, you'd see how it is. Had a few scrapes myself, actually. Ah, what a big girl you are. Shut up. Let's just kill them, shall we? That's the bloody spirit. Your little adventures straightened you out nicely, eh?" As dusk fell, the girls entered the battlefield. About an hour later, Izumi was over Jazz's shoulder, being hauled back inside. That both were alive was enough of a victory, given the scale of the battle. Nuke's soldiers had earned their pay many times over, killing the surrounded slavers, but not without serious injuries to themselves. They had been so thorough that only one of the slavers had escaped. Unfortunately, he escaped with Gustafsson's man Ignacio over his shoulder. After a night of resting and wound tending, everyone was back on their feet again, but stepping out of the HQ revealed that the troops were still skirmishing with the local ruffians non-stop. Clearly the guild had stepped on a real wasp's nest of a wacky-backy patch here.
"This is too much," Izumi said.
Yeah, this is crazy," Jazz said.
"Why are these dregs so wild? Maybe we should let them have their bloody corner and be done with it." "Maybe, but the prince..." "Oh, you don't want Loverboy getting mad?" "I don't want him to be disappointed. In you. In general. Whatever, darling. Why don't we leave all this stuff to the professionals?"
"Yeah, maybe."
"Where is Ignacio?" came Gustafsson's voice from behind them.
He's there,"
Izumi said, pointing at the other hiver milling about in the corner.
"That is not Ignacio," Gustafsson said.
"What? Is that a tree wearing a leather duster then?"
Jazz asked.
"That is Ren, my bodyguard. I'm speaking of Ignacio, my bodyguard."
Yes, by the way, Gustafsson had hired another hiver for his entourage, but no one had noticed until now.
"I don't know where he is then,"
Izumi said. Gustafsson sniffed around the HQ, then around the battlefield a little, ignoring the fighting continuing on around him. He returned and said,
"They've taken him. Come, soldier, we shall retrieve him."
Ren jumped to life and picked up a long katana.
"Wait, it's too dangerous,"
Izumi said.
"That is incorrect. I must retrieve him,"
Gustafsson insisted.
Wait, I thought you bugmen didn't really care about the little guys, disposable drones or whatever," Jazz said.
"Ignacio is not disposable. He is associated to me. I'm leaving."
"Prince Gustafsson, Prince Tashino said I'm in charge, and I really think we should stick together," Izumi said.
"Heartless flesh! You are not worthy of your station. I must ignore you. I shall return."
Gustafsson and Ren ran off in the direction the slavers had come from.
"That's 3 gone. No wonder you lost your dig crew,"
Jazz commented.
"Shut up, Jazz. Nuke, please come back soon,"
Izumi muttered. Nuke was standing in the old HQ in Heft, sizing up his crab claw trophy on the wall.
"The bags can't be full," he said.
"The chocolate seeds, the weapons, all those books, they are rather hefty, my prince,"
Wadston said.
"I know, but I need the crab arm as well. I need it, my man."
"You could leave a few of the books here. We will do just fine without them."
"No, we won't. I won't. I need them too, for scientific research purposes," Nuke said.
Rick opened Gary's pack and pulled out a load of small monochrome volumes.
"What do we got here? The Underwear Ninja, The Prince and the Peephole, Yasuke X Rock Chain Beach Bonanza."
"They have titles?" Nuke exclaimed, rushing over. "Ochre and spit, you can read the runes, Coinslot."
"Sure I can. All these little marks are words. You want me to read it to you?"
"Fuck yes! Everyone take a seat," Nuke called.
"Alright, not like we got anywhere to be or anything. How about this one? The Perverted Tale of Buck Chuck, Chapter 1, The Battle of the Spandex Bulge. We gotta make this shit illegal again, man."
In Black Scratch, Izumi reported the situation down in the river canyon and paid a premium for most of the city's reserve troops to come down and fight to protect the vital scientific work going on there. She returned to find that Sandor had gone missing.
"He said he sensed danger," Jazz reported. "Ran off after the bugmen. You're in big trouble now, eh?" "Fug, I'll go find them. You're in charge." "Finally, my own corpse farm. I can retire," Jazz said.
She, the crabs and the reinforcement troops held down the decreasingly proverbial fort, and indeed picked up a pretty penny farming coins and weapons from the fallen slavers. But the would-be warlord Nuke had made a few enemies, it seems.
"Oi, you this Jazz girl,"
one of the mercenaries called around the door of the HQ.
"To right, what's chomping ya? Got some weirdos outside who say they're from the crab crew or something. Here to ask about your crabbing license, I don't know. They've got fug-off armour and weapons. Oh, and crabs. Friends of yours?" "Crab crew? Crab crew. No, doesn't bong a gong for me. Can you tell them to wait outside? I'll just get the licenses or whatever.
While the guards kept this crab crew company, Jazz gathered up Prince, Krusty and Scut and snuck them up the side of the canyon to a hiding place.
Not gonna let a bunch of crab wranglers put you in horrible cages, my darlings, she whispered to the crabs. Hope our lord and lady don't get mad though. Looks like we've all bloody deserted at this point.
Back outside the base, things were getting a little heated between the crabbers and the heathenous crabless ones.
I know you're hiding crabs in there, you sick perverts,
the crab leader said.
Sick perverts? You say that to me? You're practically a fish man already,
a guard shot back.
I have a very loving relationship with my crab. You could never hope to experience such joy,
someone shouted.
Fucking disgusting. I don't know where Jazz is, but forget it. Shove off the lot of you.
Never. Hand over your crabs.
Oh, I'll give you crabs. Wait, that sounded better in my head. Boys, kill these crab fuggers. Let's eat like nobles for a week, eh?
Another historic battle erupted, with mercenary samurai and swordsman scientists fending off crabs and crab enthusiasts alike. In the hills to the west, back inside the Empire, Izumi found Sandor, who himself had found Gustafsson and Ren, who themselves had been mugged by pirates and left for dead.
Bloody hell, I told them not to go,
Izumi said.
The Hiver had a sense of duty for his compatriot. This is the sort of bond that nobles cannot understand, Sandor commented.
Don't tell me you want to associate with him now.
He would never allow it.
Yes, well, consent is important, isn't it? Come on, we've got a duty of our own.
The humans lugged the unconscious Hivers eastwards again. The day passed by without any sign of an end to the battle at the river, with just about everyone getting too injured to carry on fighting, but trying to continue all the same.
Crabs? Our best waifus,
someone muttered.
Degenerates. Must be purged, another voice said.
Darkness fell with the matter unresolved, but the pro-crab lobby had the upper hand in total legs still in use. Jazz still had their ultimate quarry tucked away on a nearby hill, but you can imagine she was getting a little worried seeing the base gradually fall and not seeing the strange guild she'd signed up with come back. So, overall, this whole chocolate thing was going a bit poorly. The guild was now split in 4, its money and manpower expended, its brand new headquarters under siege by all manner of foes, and several of its members too wounded to move, or too horrified by what Red Rick had read to them to face up to reality. And it was all that meddling future girl's fault. Was this the end of the old school Browntown dream? Or would you believe me if I told you that from all this madness, the perfect formula for a Coco Loco empire would emerge?